Yes guys, and welcome from me, another CMO 102 video, and it's been a while, but it's time to do a player profile. Now this was a guy that I picked up on a couple of weeks ago on someone that I probably should have done in the early days of player profiles. This is the legendary, the great Joe Cole. Now Joe Cole falls under that category of great player in CM, just didn't really live up to the expectations in real life. I mean, the thing is, he had some great expectations in real life. No doubt about that. Joe Cole, you know, he was the best thing since sliced bread, let's be honest. Let's talk about him from CM perspective before we talk about him personally. Now, I've fired up a game here. You know the usual game that I fire up for player profiles. We are 7 seasons in, or 8 seasons in, and I can show you, give you a good rough idea of how Joe Cole, pans out, and that's the answer. So back in season 1, he had a great season for West Ham, 7-13. He did really well for Newcastle. The following season, absolute brilliant. That's probably his best season. I mean, 16 assists, 17 goals, 771. He's been very, very prolific. And then, of course, he got his move to PSV. So he's been, I mean, he's frequently an assist machine. Now, the thing is, right, with Joe Cole, he looks the bollocks, and he is the bollocks. He is a £100 million player. If you start a game, particularly in England, Spain, Italy, or Germany, and you buy Joe Cole, you could, providing you're playing him and he's consistent, you could sell him for £100 million easily. If you're PSV, for example, you probably won't get 100 million for him, or any sort of outside those 4 countries that I said, you probably won't get the 100 million for him, but he is definitely a £100 million player, providing you are playing him. Now the thing is, right, back in season 1, he will start at West Ham, and there's every chance he will start at West Ham with a relegation release clause, along with Jermaine Defoe, and probably Michael Carrick, and Rio Ferdinand, and of course, I don't know, 25% of the time West Ham can get relegated. So at the end of season 1, if you're not West Ham, keep an eye on West Ham, because you could pick up some fucking gems. And if you could pick up Joe Cole for a relegation release clause of, like, say, I think it's like about £2.6 million you could potentially get him for, it is a bargain. Or start a game as West Ham, and then tie him down to a long contract. He is an absolute brilliant player. And you've only got to see the stats right there just to see, how prolific he is in the game. I mean, I don't like having the history on this game because it makes a mockery of goals 83, because that's included pre-game that we'd even started. So 6 should be taken off that. Assists, 91 assists since we started playing CM, 27 Man of Match awards, and they're all in playable leagues as well. So, absolutely superb. So he's definitely a go-to player if you're starting a game, a save, as a big team. So if you are starting a game as Manchester United, Real Madrid, Joe Cole, I know there's a lot of players that you could probably get that are equally as good, that probably will cost you less. He'll probably cost you outright about £15 million. But in all honesty, it's £15 million well spent. You can see he didn't leave in the first season. Let's have a look at how West Ham did in that first season, back in season 1. So they finished, there you go, they got relegated. Isn't that fucking bizarre? That is bizarre, but he clearly didn't. He clearly moved without a relegation release clause, or he didn't have one, or he's because quite often he'll sign a new contract and get the relegation release clause or something like that. But they got relegated. So in all fairness, right, for him to get relegated. For them to get relegated, shall I say, sorry, he still managed 6 goals, 5 assists, and 4 Man of the Match awards. That just proves how well he did. And, I think that, look at that season 3 with Newcastle was crazy. Absolutely crazy. So, yeah, that's him in terms of CM. In terms of real life, now, as I said, he starts at West Ham, which is where he was part of the famous West Ham Youth Academy. And to be fair, credit where it's due to West Ham, they've had some absolute beasts come out. You've got to think to yourself, Michael Carrick, Rio Ferdinand, these players that went on to Manchester United and turned out to be absolutely brilliant. Jermaine Defoe, I was a really big fan of Jermaine Defoe. Rio Ferdinand, I thought, was absolutely brilliant. Frank Lampard was another one, and I think, in my opinion, He got a well-deserved move to Chelsea in like 03. It never really materialised. He was at Chelsea, believe it or not, right, for 7 years. And that's the only reason he had more games at Chelsea than he did at West Ham, is because he was... And, you know, the thought of that seems bollocks, but he was there for 183 games, which is just bizarre. And I think it's fair to say it was a shit run at Liverpool. A very, very shit run at Liverpool, which obviously included a loan spell into France, believe it or not. He went to Lille, but you didn't know that, did you? And you may recall about 8-9 years ago, it went back to West Ham. It never happens, does it, when you go back to it? Going back to the team that started you at the end of your career, I said this before, is fair enough, but not when you try to relaunch it, because even after West Ham, he went to Aston Villa for a couple of years, and even at Villa, he went on loan. But get this, he went on loan to Midlands rivals, albeit not Wolves, but he went to Coventry City. Now, the last I heard, I wrote this down actually, and the last I heard is he was at Tampa Bay Rowdies, and that was like back in 2018. Now, I don't ever recall reading an official retirement. I'm pretty sure if I checked it, I'm sure he's retired, because he's about 40, 41. In fact, hang on a minute. Yeah, he'd be 40. Yeah, he'd be 40. Yeah, he's just turned 41, isn't he? So he'd be 41 years of age. So, you know, I don't know. For England, again, this surprises me because he never really lived up to the expectations as in real life. 56 caps for England. The problem was, right, as CM have it, you know, he's a left winger, he's either foot. So realistically, when you think of, you know, in the time where he was, you know, like when he was young and he was breaking through, he should have been England's answer to the left wing crisis that we always had. You know, it's no secret about that. But it never happened, did it? It never happened. But I also know that he did some he got his coaching badges. Or he did some coaching badges at Chelsea. And I want to say he did it with I can't remember who he did it with. I want to say he did some coaching badges, or he worked with the late Vialli. He did some work at Chelsea when Vialli did, or Vialli gave him some guidance or something like that. Some words to that effect. So yeah. So that is that. He was born in London and he's an attacking midfielder. You know, what else do you want to know about him apart from a bit like Mark Kerr? The only difference was about Mark Kerr. He wasn't built up in real life to be a gem. Neither was Sigalko. Joe Cole was built up to be brilliant in real life, but never did it. So if you played CM, get Joe Cole, get Mark Kerr, and get Maximin Sigalko, and you've got the bollocks. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Till next time from me, take it easy.